Next, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, zero-based budgeting. Okay, zero-based budgeting. Dahil lahat naman tayo ay tinamaan and you will have to recalibrate your budget. What is zero-based budgeting? Zero-based, your revenue less your expenses, dapat zero. Walang mag-exceed na na income sa'yo dito. So, kaya tinatawag natin siyang zero-based. So, gusto kong i-identify anong pinagkaiba ng traditional at saka zero-based budgeting. Sa traditional budgeting, ang ginagamit nating technique is historical. Last year, ganito yung inyong expenses. Ang usual ng ginagawa natin, it's across the board. Maglalagay tayo ng 10% or 20% increase. Diba? You're allowed to you're allowed na magkaroon ng mga additional expenses, may limit ka lang, 10%, 20%, or what, across the board. Sa zero-based budgeting, kakalimutan natin yung historical. Everybody will start from zero and you will end at zero. So you must justify bakit kailangan akong gumastos. I'll give you an example. This is a little bit tedious. Nung ginawa namin to sa isa sa mga kliyente ko, let's say restaurant sila. Sabi nila na gano'n, if we want to start zero-based budgeting, lahat ng items pag-aaralan natin. So, anong expense? Nagkataon nung dumating ako, pinag-uusapan nila yung toothpick. Wow, big pan toothpick. Tanda-tanda ko yun.
Sir, maraming klase ng toothpick yata yan.
Yes! And that kind of toothpick that they are talking about, yung individually wrapped na merong mint sa dulo.
Eto sir, yung di ba, pag nag-serve sa restaurant, yan yung may green sa dulo nga, tama. Mint nga yun.
Ang sarap niya, akala mo dessert na siya. So, ultimately, we realized na mas malaki ang gastos doon kesa doon sa ordinary na toothpick. Okay? And then, ang tanong nila, nung nag-risk analysis na nga, do our customers come here because of the toothpick or because of the food? Siyempre, food, less of the toothpick. In fact, zero nga yun. Then identify nila, what if we spend on a lesser value na toothpick, yun ang bibili natin kesa yung gano'n na toothpick. And then, nung kinumpute nila, nakita nila, kasi several branches of restaurants, nakita nila, sweldo na to ng ilang tao. So for each item, you have to justify. Bakit kailangan mo itong expense na to? Bakit kailangan mong mag-invest dito? Bakit mo kailangan mag-hire ng additional na tao? Bakit mo kailangan bumili ng additional na mga supplies, mga equipment, and the like. So yun yung beauty ng zero-based budgeting. So I'll be very honest, there are good, the bad, and the ugly about this. Okay. The good about zero-based budgeting, kasi for every need, kailangan may benefit tayo. So I need this, anong pakinabang ko? Anong pakinabang ng negosyo? Somebody has to answer that question. If you cannot answer that question, sorry, thank you ladies. Next. So, tanggal siya sa budget. The beauty of this is that managers will find cost-effective activities. Okay. So, COVID na yon, wala namang nakakakita ng mga billboards.
Right.
Wala namang nagdadrive sa EDSA. So, the most cost-effective activities ngayon in advertising is Facebook. Diba?
Right.
So, yeah. So, managers will be forced to find cost-effective activities kasi kailangan niyang i-justify yung kanyang budget. And there will be better communication or collaboration among all departments kasi bago ko galawin ito, ipapasa ko sa iyo to eh. So, pag parang bola, pagpasa ko sa iyo, tama ba yung pinasa ko? Pag kulang or sobra, babalik sa akin yan. So, there's better decision making. And malaki ang nawawala sa wastage. Ang malaking nakikinabang dito, yung operations or your production. Kapag ginawa natin yung zero-based budgeting sa accounting. Ano naman ang the bad dito? So, very timely consuming siya. It requires review. Tignan mo nga na yung sinasabi ko kanina, toothpick. It will be very tedious para sa mga managers, and you need to create a new mindset. This is the bad thing about this. I have to be very honest. Meron akong dalawang client who asked me to conduct rainbow accounting dun sa company nila, no, for them to have a meaningful grasp of accounting. Kasi from there, they will venture towards zero-based budgeting. So, nandun sila nag-start sa number 3, the new mindset. We were very successful in conducting the program. Kaya lang, siguro nung time na yon, they were very busy with some projects. Hindi ko alam, na-stall yung kanilang pagre-review ng each item. Kasi moving to, sabi ko nga, baka hindi, you need more time to identify ano yung mga items na kailangan nating i-cut or i-justify dun sa mga expenses natin.
Right, right. And hindi basta-basta ang mga tao din, sir. Meron din po tayong parang natural na instinct din natin na kapag nare-reject, no? Medyo, meron sa ating effect ang rejection, no?
Yes.
Pero the very good thing about this zero budget, dito sa pinopromote nating ZBB, no? Na strategy, we can actually benefit lalong-lalo na yung enhancement ng soft skills ng mga employees. I think in this particular time, itong pandemic na to, it provided a good wake-up call for a lot of employers na nakita nila yung competencies and capabilities also of their employees, no sir, ng mga key asset nila. Nakita nila na kulang pala siya sa ganito, kulang pala siya sa ganyan. Yun pala yung most businesses kasi parehas tayo sir ng industry nakikita natin lagi yung struggle nila. Imagine some people, they expect their people to provide or hit their quota na worth 10 million, pero ni isang training ng sales hindi pala nila nabigyan yung employee na yun, no? So this is a perfect opportunity para i-equip nila ngayon yung mga employees nila so that they can be prepared and be ready once everything normalizes na. Pasok talaga yung industry natin na mag-provide ng training, ng new mindset for their employees.
Yes, and that's the reason why I'm passionate about Rainbow Accounting, because it teaches people, it teaches mga employee, no, to be conversant of the language of business. Isipin mo, no, kung pupunta ka sa doktor and you don't know how to tell the doctor what's your problem. And even the doctor, kung hindi niya makakapag-communicate sa'yo, no, sayang yung maraming opportunities. That's why everybody should learn the language of business. That's the bad. Okay, so the steps, identify the objectives. Babalikan ko mamaya, no. Objectives. You have to prioritize the activities. Katulad nga yung sinabi ko doon sa dalawang clients ko na yon, because may intervening events na nangyari, kaya na-stop sila sa pag-identify ng mga expenses. Ang nangyari, ganito naman tayo last year. Sige, i-go na natin. Ganon ang nangyari. Okay, yung cost-benefit analysis, yun ang gagawin natin, plus the decision packages and finalize the budget. So if these things happen, sino yung taga-approve? How fast can we move forward kung tama ba yung expense na yan or hindi or so. So ito yung mga steps na yan. So, pero malaki ang payoff. I'll show you the international scenario at saka yung local. Okay, so ang payoff nito, according to Deloitte, yung mga clients nila who migrated from traditional to zero-based budgeting, malaki naman ang naging impact. So, kung titignan natin tayo sa United States, TJ Maxx, Ross, yung favorite kong puntahan kasi ko rin Kohl's, Bed & Bath, di ko alam kung nagsara na sila, no? Nordstrom, parang Rustans dito sa atin sa Manila, no? Nordstrom. These are big retail companies. So, kinulate nung Deloitte yung kanilang information, and this is what they got. Sa cost of goods sold, 1% improvement kagad sila sa revenue. Nagkaroon ng 192 million increase in revenue. Yung 5 days na reduction in inventory days, I will explain mamaya. Yung inventory, hindi siya nakatenga. Nakatipid sila ng 5 days. Impis na halimbawa, 20 days, naging 15 days na lang. It was able to provide $168 million in terms of working capital. So, if you look into the CBB, ang laki talaga nung kanyang pakinabang. Kaya lang locally, wala tayong company who are willing to share this kind of information. No? Okay, pero wala akong mapapakita dito sa Philippines, pero meron at meron. Kung titignan natin, magkano yung naiwan ng past administration to the new administration? Kasi sila yung gumamit ng zero-based budgeting. They were able to leave something like 1 trillion budget to the new administration. Kaya balikan natin. If we will analyze yung ano nangyari naman, ano naman ang ating criticisms of past administration. Di ba napansin nyo lagi, ang bagal daw, ang bagal magdesisyon, yung mga ganung mga bagay.
Right.
Kasi yun yung nature noong zero-based budgeting. You have to justify every single centavo na gagamitin mo. So, kung hindi ko lang may magtatanong, kung tatanungin ako, gagamitin ba natin yung zero-based budgeting? Personally, ito ang nakikita ko. No? Baka humanap tayo ng possibility. Siguro another model which is a hybrid of zero-based and historical type of budgeting.
Yun.
Kasi masyadong ang tedious. Although, ito yung panahon na ang daming oras ng mga tao natin. From now to May 15, bigyan mo sila ng mga assignment, identify yung mga expenses, baka pwede natin gawin.
Yes, and kung kayang-kaya din naman niyang gawin na while they're working remotely, di ba? Kung kakayanin naman siya, perhaps it can be a very good idea to consider yung strategy na ito, no? I think ako, sir, a little bit, siguro ngayon ko lang na-realize, ito yata ang strategy na ginagawa ko. Kasi I always make sure, before purchasing anything, meron siya dapat justification kung talaga bang need siya, no? And in some organization, I think isa sa struggle na hindi mo nakikita yung allocation ng mga expenses mo. Be it a toothpick lang, a simpleng toothpick di ba? Meron din ako dun, sir, ginamit noon sa isang session ko sa supply chain. Straw naman. Yung impact sa inventory ng straw na hindi nare-realize ng isang company or ng isang, let's say, yun nga, restaurant sila, hindi nyo nare-realize ang laki ng impact na nasasayang yung funds niya, yung yun nga, yung pondo niya, nauubos lang pala sa waste na dahil dun sa straw. Ayan.
Right. Pero remember, which papakita ko mamaya, no, hindi ka nagtitipid, you're not cutting costs, you're not cutting expenses just for the purpose of cutting expenses. Okay. There's a purpose. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung number one, what is the objective? Hindi ko siya masyadong nilalipan. So, identify natin what is the objective. Let's say, for example, the objective is, anong nangyari nung sinabi ng Malacanang, you have to release businesses, you have to release the 13th month pay of employees. Di ba, no? Yes, willing ang mga employers na i-release. Ang dali lang naman noon. Ina-accrue naman talaga yan sa nasa libro yan. Kaya lang, wala namang cash.
Yun, isa yun sa
isa pa yan sa pag-uusapan natin.
Pag-uusapan natin, sir, mamaya, no? Kasi paano naman yung lalong-lalo na yung mga maliliit na negosyo na hindi nila kaya na maglabas ngayon ng na yan.
Ang mas mahirap pa, employees, because they were not trained to understand the language of business, they always say, di ba, ang laki daw ng kinita ng Christmas party, nagpalakpakan tayo, ang laki ng kinita ng kumpanya, bakit walang cash? Okay. hindi sa congruent na immediately equal yon. Income doesn't mean immediately na cash. Hindi siya equal ka equal. Posibleng you made a lot of income, you made a lot of profit, pero hindi ka, kung cash flow ang pag-uusapan natin, hindi ka liquid. Normal din na mangyari yun. Baka hindi mo lang na-manage ng maganda. Or pero kung ginawang accounting style na hindi match doon. Or kasi hindi mo naman kailangan. Hindi naman natin alam na magpaparelease ng 13th month. Okay, there's a purpose, may objective tayo. And I'd like to share this. If you're thinking na ang zero-based budgeting will give you no income, ang non-profit ba, bakit sila tinatawag na non-profit? Allowed ba sila to make profit? Okay.
Yun. Naku, sir, question ko yan nung nag-aaral ako kasi baka mamaya ibig sabihin ba niyan, hindi din talaga sila magpa-profit at all?
Oo, ako din dati tinitignan ko yan. But when I studied, lalo na yung nagkaroon ako ng mga clients na mga cooperative, so a non-profit organization. So yes, non-profit organization siya, but they will operate the business to make profit. So anong ibig nating sabihin yan? Whatever profit na nakuha nila, ibabalik nila to the operation para it's either mapareduce nila yung cost para doon sa kanilang mga members or mga clients. Ganoon ang ibig sabihin nun. Let's say for example, board member ako ng Philippine Institute for the Deaf. It's the only deaf school na oral, hindi kami sign language. Napapasalita namin, Julius Guerra can do miracles, she can make deaf kids speak. So, hindi porket nag-ooperate kami, pag may nakita kami, oy, kumita tayo, naku, illegal yan, hindi ganon. So, okay lang na kumita, pero yung kinita mo, it's either you will return it to the business para mapababa yung tuition fee and the like, mga ganon. And mamaya, it's another strategy if you can identify mga NGOs that are registered sa mga DSWD, accredited sila ng BIR. I'm sure narinig natin yung sinasabi ng DSWD, no, na if you're making donations, make sure that if you can course your donation dun sa mga registered organizations. May accounting impact yan na pwede kong i-share mamaya. Okay. So are non-profits allowed to make profit? Definitely. Are zero-based companies following the CBB not allowed to make profit? Yes, pwede. So anong gagawin natin pag nagkaroon ka ng profit? That's actually the purpose kung bakit ka nagsi-CBB. So nag-identify ka, magkano yung dapat natin na kikitain kasi ilalagay natin siya sa savings. Most organizations, businesses na hindi nakapag-release ng 13-month pay, ito yung mga businesses na hindi nakapag-provide ng 3 to 6 months na expenses as savings. According to the study, chinek ko to nung nakaraang araw, pareho pa rin siya. So, in-extend lang nila to the number of months, which is most likely, kung titignan natin, ganyan na nangyayari ngayon sa COVID. Ano? If you want your business to be insulated sa mga sudden crisis na katulad nito, sabi nila, computein mo kung magkano ang iyong monthly expenses and you must have 3 to 6 months of that amount of expenses in savings.
Oh, wow. 3 to 6 months. Nako,
Yes.
dapat nga talaga marinig. Hindi lang, I think yata, sir, ng mga business owners, kahit tayo personally, kailangan marinig mo to para malaman mo kung gaano kahaba yung PC mo. Ito na yata yung sukatan nun, 3 to 6 months. Ito na, galing na sa expert to, 3 to 6 months yung kailangan.
So, tingnan na Meg, I'm sure tayo, kailan nagsimula? Nagsimula tayo mag-grocery, March yata, March, April, nandito na tayo sa May. And I'm sure by now, sinisilip-silip mo na yung kahon mo. Teka muna, dati apaw pa yan, ngayon lumalalim na. So nakikita natin, on the third month, you can see na nag-start na siya mag-deplete. So will you be able to last up to the 6 months? So if you want a good business plan na merong continuity, na insulated siya from many different types of crisis, ito ang titignan natin. And kung nag-create ka ng zero-based budgeting, all other income na pwedeng mangyari, let's say for example, we want to create savings. Hindi tayo magbibilin muna ng mga, di tayo magkakaroon ng mga capital expenditure, wag muna tayong mag-create ng mga bagong branches, wag muna tayong bumili ng mga bagong mga machines. Ilagay muna natin siya sa savings in preparation for, sabi nila, nag-mutate na ang COVID into 30 plus yata yung kind of mutation niya na baka magkaroon, wag naman sana ng COVID 2021, 2022. No?
So, sir, wag naman dumami na yan.
So let's say, for example, mangyari yan, hindi ka babalik dun sa situation mo nung early part ng 2020 kasi na-arrest mo siya doon sa zero-based budgeting. You were able to create a 3 to 6 months expenses. Let's say, for example, okay na kayo, nagawa mo na yan. Pwede ka nang bumalik sa, let's say, ano naman ang gusto natin? So, hindi nangyari yung mga crisis na yan. You can use your savings para bumili ng mga machines, magbigay ng bonus, diyan ka na kukuha.
Kung kaya nung budget.
Yes, and pero you always have to maintain this much, lalo na ngayon na hindi natin malaman kung ano mangyayari. So yeah, 6 months of expenses. So this is good for the zero-based budgeting.